Hi everyone, now I'm going to be tying this dry fly here. This is just a CDC olive pattern. It's one I was fishing recently actually. It's very good in this size anyway. It's for spring olives. And the whole fly except for the tail is tied using CDC. And mainly in the wing and the thorax I've used the waste ends. These are the cut ends of the CDC, which I normally keep for the fine fibre at the bottom for dubbing and for tying flies like this. So I'm going to show you how to tie it. It's quite simple. Now, hook choice, it's up to yourself. You can tie these lots of sizes, but just now size 14 is ideal for spring olives that's coming off. Hook choice, as I say, is this is one I like. This is fully milled. This is a barbless hook, as you can see, size 14. It's the ultimate dry. It's in the black nickel colour. You can get the bronze version as well. Thread, I'm using an olive dun thread, 8/0 in uni. Just going to run the wax through it first to get it started. So it gives me plenty of grip. You need plenty of grip, especially tying in CDC, especially the feathers, the stems anyway. So what we do is we start at the eye, come down to the length of the thorax, and then we tie the way down, and we tie in some cocktail fibres. This is a medium Pardo. You can use hackle fibres up to yourself. I'm not shy in the number of fibres, a good half dozen there. You're looking for a tail length, at least the hook length, which would be over the back, and you can tie this on the way down, all the way to this point. Now you can come underneath with a turn, the thread, pull towards the eye, and this will lift and separate the fibres. Then we can trim away the waste. Now I'm going to do the body with the CDC feather. Now this is a domestic duck CDC, whereas this here was off a mallard. It's a much bigger feather, more fibre on it. The domestic, it's not as well. It's just basically the domestic duck. They're obviously bred for the meat, and the feathers are not formed perfectly, but they're good enough. They're still good enough to use, and you'll see in this fly. Now there's a couple of ways you can tie it on. You can tie it on, wind it up using the stem. You can remove the CDC and use it like a dubbing. I'm going to tie it much like Mark Petitjean, who's famed for tying CDC flies. Came up with lots of patterns. Basically tie it in, pull it into the tip, and then you work your way up to just over halfway. So give yourself plenty of room. Now you can twist or rope like the CDC, but what I like to do is just to start off first with a couple of turns, and then I tighten up a wee bit. So we get a taper by just spinning, and you'll see it helps to give you a taper in the fly, in the body anyway. And then we can tie it on, trim away. You could trim these fibres away, or you can leave them, it's up to yourself. I'll take them out. You can see the type of body you get. It's a nice body. Again, just wax your thread. I'm just using some, you can use any floss. This is just a bit of ultra dry yarn that was lying on my desk. So I'm just going to use it as a thorax cover. Now it helps to separate the fibre, gives you a right and left wing. That's one of the main reasons for using it. So you could use floss, you could use whatever you like. I've used foam in the past as well. So just pull it into the tips of the fibre. Make sure it's secure. That's fine. And obviously just lay it back. Now we've got our two waste ends, CDC. Now there's a natural curve in the fibre. I usually like to tie them so they're curving away from one another. Now these CDC feathers came from a company called Premier Angling in Ireland, and they do a lovely sort of top class type CDC very large feathers, and you can get lots out of them. As I say, you can easily tie flies like this. Now there's your wing. Now what you're going to do is just tie it to the back of the hook. So the length, it's on top, but I'll move this out of the way so you can see. So these cut ends are in line with the back of the hook, which is there. So you hold that, pinch and loop 2 or 3 times, make sure it's secure, and then we trim away at an angle. Now it's important that you wax your thread and make sure these are tied on, because it is a thick stem and you want to make sure it's tied on. Now there's a couple of ways you can basically do this. What I'm going to do next is the thorax. Now first thing I'm going to do is just lift up these fibres. Just lift them up so when you wind up you can get at least a turn of material behind here to lift the wing up. Sometimes it'll sit for you. I mean, it's actually sitting not too bad just now, but we can always put a ton of dubbing or so behind there. So basically there's the remains again. So what I'm going to do is trim this away from the feather. You could use a dubbing if you want, but this adds to the fly. So I've trimmed off the remains of the rest of the CDC. Now the Premier Angling CDC, what I'll do is I'll put a link in the bottom and more info below the video so you can see it. Now what we do is we just simply then dub this on. Just nice and loose. You may lose 1 or 2 fibre, but that'll be fine. Just dub it on, and then you want to work up. So just keeping it reasonably tight as you wind up. Now we've got to the wing, so we've obviously lifted up the fibre. Just make sure you don't catch your floss at the back or your yarn. And I'm just going to come in at the back of the wing to lift it, just slightly. Do another turn, and then I'm going to work my way back through towards the eye. Nice and tight. See where we are now. That's fine, that'll do it. Then we want to separate the fibre. You want to basically make a space to bring through the yarn, so make a nice space. Now once you come through, just before you do that, I'm just going to bring some of the dubbing out, especially on the top. Underneath you can get any time, but on the top we'll not be able to do this once we bring the yarn over. So be really rough with it with the Velcro and then bring it through. Just make sure you've got an even split of fibre either side. You can see that, there we are. Just double checking it's fine. Once you get to the front, just then catch it on, pull it nice and tight. Now you can fold it back, tuck it back, it's quite easy to do that. Just anything going forward, just draw it back and then put a thread turns in front. Just do a reasonable head, don't be shy with it. And then put a varnish on your thread. Quick finish. Yeah, tighten up. Trim away the yarn. Now at this point what I'm going to do is really get the Velcro underneath and bring out the dubbing, even just slightly on the side of the wings as well. And there we are, that's basically it. That's the fly. Now what I like to do, like on this one, as you can see there's no stems. You can take the stem out, but leaving the stem in helps the dressing. It dries really quick sometimes, but if you want it finer, it's quite simple just to go in and take out the stem. Just nick these out with the scissors. Now if you get a lot of long fibres, and there's not a lot on this, it's just ideal actually, so you can trim in line with the back or the body, straight up cut for the body. I'll show you. It's easier to do off the vise. So if you imagine there, it's upside down. I just sit it to the back. So I bring the wing up, and then the fibres you cut in line with the back of the hook. You don't want to bring them all back and then trim it. You only want to bring back so you get some sort of taper. If you want to do that, just trim it there. So I'm only looking at the ends, the very ends. Gives you a nice shape in the wing, but to be honest with you, it's not going to not make any difference in this fly especially. This one is ideal. And to see what it's like. As I say, you can leave the stems in. This one's got a wee bend in it, but I can easily take that out just with a nail. And there we are, and that's it. You can trim underneath. I usually get the Velcro button, just bring up the CDC, especially the thorax. The body is fine, so I need to do into the body. And there we go. Using this style or doing that, or using up these feathers, just bend this back, with the stem still on it, allows, it's quite stiff, slightly stiff, but it airs, when you cast it, it allows the air to get through the fibre, keeps it open, and it can dry much quicker. It's up to yourself, but in rough water I would certainly keep the stems on. In the softer water, then you can always take them out and get this sort of effect. So mess around with it, have a go, tie some with, some without. I would basically tie them all mainly with. This fly I've actually fished. I had taken it out of my box, so to let you see it. So anyway, there we are. That's basically the cut end CDC done. Basically using the cut ends and waste of the CDC feathers. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, and again, thanks for watching.